Good evening, everyone. I wanted to thank you for attending the regular meeting of the Joint Review Committee. This is Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. My name is Ken Lufkin. I'm the Vice Chair of the committee. Our first order of business is the consideration of the meeting minutes of the Joint Review Committee study session and regular meeting on May 4th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve said meeting minutes?
Chairman, right before we take do the motion, if I may just for the record, list the committee members that are currently present for this meeting. We have Vice Chair Ken Lufkin chairing the meeting tonight on behalf of Chairman Ross Robb. We also have committee member Jason Comer, committee member David Fackler. We also have committee member Scott Sumners, Michael Burke, and then we have from ASU committee members Nicole Loma and Rudy Balavia. And Chairman, because it's a hybrid format for committee members here, it would be great if you could have a roll call for the vote when we do that for the record.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
I believe my position still stands, looking for a motion for the approval of the study session and regular meeting of May 4th, 2022.
Mr. Chairman, Committee Member Sumner's here. Recommend approval of the study session minutes as presented.
Thank you, Committee Member Sumners. We can now have a roll call vote if the staff would assist in calling out the names.
This is committee member Jason Comer. I would second the motion.
Thank you, committee member. We now have a motion and a second for the approval of the meeting minutes. If we could have a roll call vote.
Chair Lufkin.
Aye.
Committee member Jason Comer.
Aye.
Committee member Sumners.
Aye.
Committee member Burke.
Aye.
Committee member Loma.
Aye.
Committee member Balavia.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
I believe we can now move on to our regular agenda. The first item is the request for code text amendment for the ASU Athletic Facilities District Planning Area overlay, which is the Novus Innovation Corridor, consisting of changes within the code that regulates the number of hotel keys within the university and rural road use land area. The applicant is Gamage and Burnham PLC, and we're ready to hear this presentation.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, again, for the record, my name is Manjula Vaz with law firm of Gamage and Burnham, 2 North Central Phoenix 85004. With me today is Brian Kearney, I'm Senior Vice President of Catellis. Brian, do you want
Brian Kearney with Catellis Development. We're the master developer for the Novus Innovation Corridor. We're located at 502 South College Avenue, Tempe, 85281.
And as we talked about just briefly in the study session, we were talking a little bit about Parcel 3A. This is for the way that, as you all know, in terms of Novus is regulated through what we decide is neighborhoods, and each neighborhood has a certain amount of keys related to hotel, residential, commercial. And so we, when we originally started, we kind of anticipated that we would have a certain number of each in each area, and Brian added an additional 10%. And so we wouldn't kind of exceed our caps, but luckily, Novus has been so successful, and Brian will talk a little bit about it, that we actually have had a lot of hotel interest in this, what we call phase 3. And so the text amendment is to increase the hotel rooms for additional 40 that will allow us to bring an additional hotel into Phase 3A, but the number applies to the entire text amendment. So just briefly, our request is to allow 40 additional hotel rooms within the University and Rural Mixed-Use Subdistrict of the ASU Athletic Facilities District Planning Area, and we want to accommodate a new hotel on Novus Parcel 3A. Here's the site, which we talked a little bit about in study session. And here's the site again. I don't know, I think we've talked a little bit about that, and we talked about 3A, and we talked a little bit in study session about future development of 3A, both the hotels, plaza, and the restaurant. So here's the existing use parameters on the front if you want to talk a little bit about, you can see each land area is broken up into how much residential, office, restaurant, hotel, community and civic, and we're going to just, what we'll do is change the hotel line and then the overall allowed hotel use. But if you want to talk a little bit about the numbers, maybe.
Sure. Maybe we could go back to a map just for reference. So, in fact, maybe go back to this one. So much of our early efforts have been focused on what we refer to as Phase 3, and where we've had great success in actually bringing to market essentially one of each product type that we'll have to offer within Novus. We've developed our first mid-rise office building, developed the first multifamily project, second multifamily project under construction now, developed the first hotel. The office and the multifamily have significant amount of retail space on the ground floor. So we've been very successful in creating this urban mixed-use environment that we've talked about since the early planning days. We've always known that the land use plan was sort of a living document. It's a guide for the future, obviously, but it's a 20-year master plan. The underlying land use that you see here is actually residential, but we have flexibility within the text amendment to move the product around within these sub-districts so long as we stay within the entitlements. So with respect to the hotel, one of our early projects was the Hyatt Place Hyatt House Hotel developed by Mortensen Development. And that ended up being 259 keys, which was significantly higher than we expected to be able to achieve on that first hotel. And so we've always looked at hotels as being somewhat, I don't know if fungible is the right word, but they're a use that fits well in many different places within Novus. And they bring new folks every night who are looking to spend dollars, within Tempe and within Novus. So we think they're a great use. They don't take a lot of land, and so they can fit as a mixed use component in many different ways. 3A. Over time, that we've looked at various options for it, including multifamily and office. We looked at a food hall concept, which food halls have kind of fallen out of fashion these days since the pandemic. But we've always thought that site ought to have a real vibrancy to it. It's a key corner at Rural and 6th Street. And so it needs absolutely to be really the cornerstone of the Novus Place retail district running parallel to Rural Road. And so we have this plan that we'll talk to you about in more detail in the near future with 3 restaurants, an urban park that we will develop as the master developer that will be open to the public, as well as a hotel component that we think works really well with the restaurants and with the public park, and we'll put eyes and feet on the street, in the park, and on Novus Place retail district. And so the hotel is slightly larger than what we have capacity for within the existing entitlements. And so again, it's not a use, as you saw, 60 cars, 60 parking spaces in the shared garage, so it doesn't add new parking garage, doesn't add a tremendous amount of parking need. And so again, we think it's a great use and would seek your support in adding the additional keys so that we can move forward with the hotel.
Yeah, and then just to show you with the revisions to the text, what we're requesting is, as you can see there on the hotel column, going from 425 keys to 465 keys within University and Rural kind of mixed-use area, and then increasing the total maximum hotel allowed to 1,426 keys. So small changes, but just given the way the text amendment works, we would ask for a recommendation of approval, and then we'll go to council for the future. And that's our request. Happy to take any questions.
I have a question. I just wanted to verify that the additional car demand has already been provided for in the Novus parking garage, as you previously noted.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct. We've certainly done the analysis, and the hotel, we can accommodate the hotel in the parking garage without sacrificing the capacity that we need to support the remaining 2 office buildings and the retail. So we're very comfortable with that, as is ASU, who actually operates the garage.
Thank you.
I've got a quick question. When in your traffic report, you guys talk about what was proposed on this block and what is now being proposed, and there's a drop in traffic because you've changed in mix of uses. Is that a permanent change, or does that mean at some point you could come back and go back to if this text amendment was done, you could go back and add all the uses that you had in there originally, which would then bump the traffic back up?
Well, Mr. Chairman, Committee Member Burke, we would have to stay within the, are you talking about with respect to the specific site or in general?
I'm talking about the land use proposed, I think, for 3A, which has all
The plan is that we'll move forward with the 3 individual restaurants, and so the intent is not to go back to and the park, and so the intent is not to go back to the original mix of uses that we had there. We do have flexibility within each of the sub-districts to utilize all of the entitlements that were granted. So I would anticipate that we would end up doing so at some point, but not on 3A. It would be in a different configuration.
I was wrong. It's phase 3, not just 3A.
Oh, phase 3, correct. So I do anticipate that there's a good chance that we would, within the university and rural mixed-use land area, we will utilize all of those entitlements. The traffic report that's being referred to there was actually done for a component of that sub-district south of 6th Street. And so within the entire area, I expect that we will utilize most, if not all, of the entitlements, but it will be within the context of the larger area.
So I understand it shows that your overall parking is going down because your change in use dropped the demand, but yet the hotel intensity is actually doubling the amount of traffic on the hotel. So if you can go back to your original, then how does that work such that?
Within phase 3, I don't anticipate we would utilize all of them. Within the larger sub-district, I think there's a reasonable chance that we would utilize all of them. And we have to amend that traffic report when we move north of 6th Street and submit a report that covers the entire area. So that was the agreement we made with the city. As soon as we move north of 6th Street, we will amend the traffic report and have to justify it.
This is Committee Member Comer. I'm glad you just mentioned the fact that use could probably go in a number of locations. I really don't see the rationale of even limiting hotel uses on this site. I feel like there's just no downside. It just brings in people that are going to come in and spend money and probably not drive a lot.
Right.
I see a lot of hotel shuttles to the airport. I just stayed in a very urban hotel that was all valet, and it worked great. So
Right.
I fully support the project, and I like the design.
Thank you.
Well, I would just add on to Committee Member Comer's comments that I believe that this is a good design and that it does add granularity to the project. It's what would be expected in the refinement of a master plan like this, and that the project does fit within the framework of the master plan, and it looks like it'll be a very successful project.
Thank you. We'll turn it over to Saparna to give the staff presentation.
Chairman and committee members, I'm just going to be very brief since Mangelo went through the project changes for the text amendment. Um, Staff reviewed the text amendment, and staff was comfortable moving forward with this change. This was also reviewed by our city attorneys for the ordinance, as well as with our transportation traffic engineers. And we actually did receive a comparison of trip generation as a result of this. And that was actually accepted by the traffic engineer, so that was all okay to move forward. A public meeting or our neighborhood meeting was not required for a text amendment, and so far, staff did not receive any public comments on this text amendment. Staff does recommend approval of this text amendment, which will go to City Council tentatively scheduled for September 22nd and for a second hearing for October 20th as an ordinance. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, staff.
Thank you, Suparna. Just a quick question. Today, we're considering the text amendment only, right? Not the site plan, not the full project, right?
That's correct.
Do we have any
Chairman
idea
and
of
committee
timing
members.
for when we would hear the project in its full design ready for DPR or whatever the
Great
corollary is?
question. We actually, committee member, chairman and committee member Summers, we just received the preliminary site plan for the hotel this week. So it's going to be routed for interdepartmental review. And then at some point, the applicant will be submitting a formal application to us. So it is in the motion. Thank you. If, also to clarify, if you, on the text amendment or any other future projects, committee member work, every time we have a project or anything like that, if it is anticipated in the future, we definitely run it through our traffic engineer just to make sure that it is, not adding or, if causing any other difficulty with the master TIA. And then this particular phase 3 area. So,
Thank you again, Suparna.
thank you, Chairman.
Are there any other questions or comments regarding the project or the amendment that's on the table? If not, I would ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, Committee Member Sumner's here. I see this as a very small change to the plan, and would be happy to make a motion to approve the text amendment as presented. That's PL 220203.
Thank you, Committee Member Sumners. Do we have a second on the motion?
Committee Member Burke seconds it.
Thank you, Committee Member Burke. Are we going to do a roll call vote then again, Suparna?
Chairman. Committee member Loma?
Aye.
Committee member Balavia?
Aye.
Committee member Comer?
Aye.
Committee member Sumners?
Aye.
Committee member Burke?
Aye.
Chairman Lufkin?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. With that, I believe the next agenda item is number 3, which is the committee
Chair-
member announcements.
Can
Do we
I
have any?
make an amendment? I did not call committee member Chad Packler for this. I apologize.
My apologies.
Thank you, Chairman.
So we're cleared up now. You've gotten back committee member Fackler's vote.
Yes, Chairman. It's an aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. 7-0. I apologize.
Thank you, David. With that, I'll move on to the next action item, which is the committee member announcements. If we have any announcements to be made, the floor is open for any committee member. With no announcements, we'll move to the next item, which is staff announcements. Do we have any announcements from staff?
Chairman, we do not have any staff announcement, but I would remind again that we are actively engaged in the general plan 2050 Tempe tomorrow. There was a citizen committee meeting last night, and there was a tag meeting in the morning. So we highly encourage any committee member to participate in the citizens meeting, or if you would like any other information from staff.
Thank
That's
you
it.
very much. And I understand that these will be ongoing meetings that will go throughout the end of this year and through a good portion of next year, actually. So there'll be plenty of information and opportunities to get an update. I believe our committee chair, Rob, has attended our tag meetings on behalf of the JRC committee, and we'll look forward to an update from him upon his return.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. With that, I would like to make an announcement to end the meeting.
Thank you.
If that may be appropriate at this time. So with that, we will close the meeting out. Thank you very much for everybody attending.
Thank you very much.